My name is Wonyoung So, and I'm a research assistant at the Data Plus Feminism Lab at MIT. And I'm here to present our project called Audit the Street with a brilliant member of the lab, including Hua Z, Nico Are, Lily C, Elizabeth Borman, Avita Weinberg, and Catherine Ignazio, who is the director of the lab. So the motivation of the project went back to last year. The killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis led to sustained protests and outcries. So people gathered in the street and around monument and held up those same street and monument as an object of contestation. So this reminds us of the most recent national event in 2017 in Charlottesville when the counter-protester Heather Heyer was killed by white supremacists. And as a result, New Orleans, Baltimore, and Lexington decided to remove statues. And after that, the city started to evaluate the heritage landscape. For instance, the New York City initiated a commission on monument and public art, which called for quote unquote comprehensive assessment of its collection of public art, monuments, and markers in order to gain an understanding of what and who are represented. Or in 2019, Cambridge City Councilor Simmons introduced a new initiative to quote unquote compile a full accounting of street and schools and public buildings that may be named in honor of who have ties to the slave trade and to work towards renaming all of these streets and schools. So what these institutional responses have in common is that they are treating heritage landscape as a collection of sites to be assessed, reviewed, and contested and possibly transformed in the process. But what's the heritage landscape? So the geography scholars like Edelman, Dwyer, and Brasher define the heritage landscape as a spatially bounded collection of material and cultural elements. It will include street signs, historical markers, landmarks, and parks, and so on and so forth. And I really like the notion of history becomes geography. So that this kind of sentence are coined by the researchers who are studying about the critical toponymies, like the Ruben Rose Redwood, Derek Alderman, and Miles Azarahue in 2010. So, so it is really crucial to ask whose past is remembered and whose history is forgotten. So it's related with the hegemonic history, the values of the worldviews of the dominant social groups. Um, so heritage landscapes are tend to exclude these marginal and minoritized histories. So, but this heritage landscape itself is a constantly changing system. So it has to be challenged and transformed by struggles over public history and power. Through the project Audit the Street, we focus on the collection of the commemorative place names in geography. Um, so commemorative place names, basically place name for great people or event, are everywhere in European colonial societies, and basically creating a layer of history and the layers onto space. So we see this heritage landscape in the US as one of the aspects of a deeper settler colonial apparatus that systemically works to deny and erase, potentially, especially for the Black and Indigenous relations to land. So we have been doing two initiatives around researching the heritage landscape, especially commemorative place names. And so the one project is a kind of self-titled project Audit the Street. We are developing a crowdsourced database where people can see the street and place around their cities and towns and verify which person is named on the street and places. And the other is about historical and data research about Christopher Columbus in the form of data visualization, storytelling piece. So through this project, we aim to demonstrate the concept of auditing heritage landscape. So the auditing methods are increasingly popular among the algorithmic fairness researchers and journalists. So it's really interesting to see those kind of concepts are we brought from the people, and we really like the idea of turning the gates towards institutions, and these institutions are basically consolidate and maintain the unequal power, and auditing can exposing those kind of things. So the Audit the Street is an early stage project, but no, it's not public yet. But the work began in spring 2020 when we digitized record from the Cambridge Historical Commission. So this is the result of the audit in the city of Cambridge, and basically it shows the clear patterns of the disproportionate commemoration of white and landowning men. Basically 95% are white and 85% are men. Uh, every commemorated woman named in relation to man, basically someone's daughter or something. So one obvious pattern of this audit is tied between the landowning man and the Harvard University. So these unequal relations are inscribed into geography in the city of Cambridge. So this city-scale audit provoked our curiosity to explore this feasibility in a national scale. So to initiate those kind of things in national scale, we collected three different data sets. One is a OSM, street and place names, and the other is one of the other data set is domestic names by the U.S. Board on Geographic Names. And the last is Southern Poverty Law Centers, whose heritage dataset they are collecting these memorial and monument dataset which commemorate the Confederate soldiers in southern states mostly. So the way it works is through entering verification information about the certain people. For instance, there's a set of verified street and place names of Robert E. Lee here. So many of them are easy to verify because there are many of the names containing the full names. But particularly in the street database, street names, they are having only last names of a certain person, so it's relatively hard to verify these streets are named after Robert E. Lee. But if local people know history about each street names, then one can contribute such information by verifying that a street is named after a certain person. So this shows basically the process of the connecting the street with the person. So obviously this crowdsourced information can be inaccurate, so we also have the functions of the reviewing this information or rolling back the information. So through this project, we hope to offer the system as a pedagogical and informational starting point to help efforts that are tackling kind of long-standing inequities caused by this heritage landscape because of the basically settler colonialist power relationships. So after we created this national scale database, we realized that one man stood out from all over the US. He's a Christopher Columbus. And for instance, in the database, Columbus is commemorated over 6,000 places in the US. and it includes buildings, roads, statues, mountains, and more. So his name is present in every state except Hawaii. But as we know, the Columbus is dangerous myth when we consider the long shadow of his actions of the genocide of the indigenous people. So we started to do some research and visualize patterns of the Columbus commemoration and also the counter-Columbianism in the landscape, which is historically prevalent. So here we present a glimpse of interactive tools that allow readers to see where Columbus exists in their local landscapes. And also we show the various forms of counter mapping in the storytelling format. So first is the Columbus is everywhere in America. So in here we shows a series of maps over time and tell a brief history of when and how places starting to be named for Columbus. And it will end up a map of everything named after Columbus today like this. One of the interesting things about this research is that the over 4,000 of them are actually not Columbus, but Columbia, the feminized name of Columbus. So this was actually a practice drawn from the European traditions that was popularized in the early settler era to reference the land. And basically, it shows a brief histories of how this Columbus has been spreading all over the U.S. using these historical things and the maps of Columbia counties. And this is the map of Columbia, South Carolina. We showed all of the places and streets named after Columbia or Columbus. And also shows archival images such as those from books, images, paintings, stamps, and monies, and so on. The second part is named Where is Columbus Near You? So it provides an interface where people can look up their neighborhood and see where the Columbus is there. So this is the example of Boston area. There are a lot of Columbus and Columbia Street and places. And the last part is the what is America without Columbus. It shows the maps and Google Street Views images that shows the recent protest against Columbus and shows the before after images of Columbus monuments. So through this project, as the title said, it's time to take out Columbus from the map. And we argue that it's possible to imagine America without Columbus. And as a whole project, we argue that the audit makes us critically confront the permeability of symbolic ties to the land because of the European settlers, and we hope to this kind of project can denaturalize those ties in the heritage landscape. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the presentation. Thanks.